tee off any little lack of confidence the Toastmasters ever had. It's time for tea. You went up.
100 minus the power of 3, 97.
Why not 98?
I got late. LNDE late.
Okay, so stop throwing your weight because the person who's coming up next on stage is so worth the wait.
Because his words, you see, are like the proverbial bait.
Well, so let's call out straight the person who is the best evaluator in District 41.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, the champion in District 41, Bhattacharjya, holds the evaluation contest chair. Give it up for Bhatti without any debate. Thank you. Thank you, Kirti and Oyam, that you have stopped. A few more syllables, and it would have been difficult for even my parents and my wife in the audience to identify me. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Do you know that you are going to create history? You are the witness to the first ever contest of the district level in the city of Joy. Can we hear for that? Well, evaluation is known as the feedback of champions, meaning that it's perhaps the greatest tool that you will ever get to reach your success. However, why breakfast is chosen over other meals, I have no idea. For me, a meal is all about food and not when it is taken. Won't you agree, Division Chief Governor Sayantan?
Absolutely.
Today, we have the speech evaluation contest of District 41. And to fight for the coveted title of the best evaluator of District 41, we have this 10 brilliant individuals, Toastmasters amongst us. This Toastmasters was soon going to enthrall us by their intelligence, amaze us by their analysis, and yet touch us with their positive feedback. These contestants who have passed the triple hurdles of the club, area, and the division contest to win the honor to be here to represent the division at the district level. Can we please have a big round of applause for them? Well, when the rest of the world was having lunch, we had a draw of lots to establish the speaking order of the contestants. We'll have the speaking order in a minute on those screens. If you want to note them down, this is the time. So, contestant number 1, Marco Pesce. I would request you to hold on to your applause. They cannot just get enough, nothing is enough for them, but please hold on to the applause till we get through all the 10 and then we'll applaud together. Contestant number 2, Beena Mandrekar. Contestant number 3, Abhinav Khanna. Contestant number 4, ChandraShekar. Contestant number 5, Amit Kumar. Contestant number 6, Niranjana Menon. Contestant number 7, Shalini. Contestant number 8, Sayantan Roy. Contestant number 9, Akshita Agarwal. Contestant number 10, Jyotirmay Bhattacharjya. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the time to show your appreciation for all this talent. Thank you. Well, so we have decided to have a speech evaluation contest. But how are we going to do that? Well, of course, to do an evaluation, you need a test speaker. But let me tell you, the identity of the test speaker is one of the greatest secrets of the district. I only wonder that the test speaker is aware that he is the one. Lieutenant Governor, Education and Training, Prasad Sovani had used all his might to make it a secret. And even after repeated pleading, what I got is this, which I can only open when I really have to. Well, the test speaker would be on the podium to deliver a 5 to 7 minute speech. After the speech is over, the contestant will have 5 minutes to get their thoughts together. After 5 minutes, the materials will be taken from them. All materials which are written on or which are blank, including written and mobile phones and other things. After that, all the contestants, except the first one, is to leave the hall led by the Surgeon of Arms. And to ensure they could not hear the other contestants speak, they will be taken to Zurich. You heard it right, it's Zurich. And just if you're wondering how would we foot the bill or manage the time, Zurich is named after the room just opposite. So once they're in Zurich, they'll be brought back one by the Surgeon of Arms over here. Each contestant will be given 2 to 3 minutes to speak. Any contestant who speaks less than 1.5 minutes or more than 3.5 minutes stands disqualified. We have a fabulous set of timers over here. Contestants are requested to look at the timing device and not at the timers. They will indicate the contestant with a green light at 2 minutes, an amber light at 2.5 minutes, and a red light at 3 minutes. No other signal is to be provided to the contestant. In case the timing device fails, you'll have a backup of a manual cards of the same colors to be displayed. Once the contestant finishes their speech, evaluation speech on the stage, we'll give 1 minute for the judges to get their judgments together. And in that 1 minute, we'll bring the next contestant onto the stage, fit on the mics and other stuffs onto him, give him the material, and we'll then get him on the stage. At the end of the last contestant, we'll have 2 minutes for the judges just to pile up on the work that they have left behind. Please note, contestant, that your timing starts once you make a verbal or a non-verbal signal on the stage. Well, that's about the contest. How would the judging be made? Let me tell you about the judges. You know, the judges are right here in this hall, yet no one knows about them. They may be sitting right beside you and you don't know them. The only person aware of the judge or the panel of judges today is the chief judge. And I always shiver with the thought of a momentary loss of memory of the chief judge. But nothing like that is on the cards today. We have a chief judge today who is healthy and healthy. He is a past division governor. He was the chartered member, or is a chartered member of the Delhi Advanced Toastmasters Club and the Adobe Toastmasters Club. Professionally, he is a quality manager with Adobe and has done his BTech and MTech degree from IIT Roorkee. Besides being a Toastmaster, he loves solving Sudoku puzzle. Today, we have amongst us as the Chief Judge, Mr. Niranjana. Thank you. Like all good things, a contest in Toastmasters can also be protested against. But protests are limited to the contestants and the judges. And protests can be made either to the contest chair, which is me, if you haven't realized, or to the Chief Judge, Niranjana. And since we are not declaring the results today, we are sealing the results after we have the results done. The protests can be made till 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and that's Indian Standard Time, not stretchable time, today. Well, we are very close to start on the actual contest. Just a few more boundaries to talk. Please enjoy the contest, but remember, just 2 or 3 basic points. We have a full entertainment session lined up for the evening. You'd happily hear all your mobile phones at that time. For the time being, please keep them switched off. Flash photography is not allowed during the contest, which is even more the reason why you can take as many of mine as you like now. And lastly, you see the sergeant of arms at the doors. Please don't be deceived by the smiles. According to last report, contest mentor Abdul Rahim have armed it with guns and stun guns. You are not allowed, you including me, are not allowed to leave the hall once the contest starts. So if you have any calls, natural or electronic, please remember what Vikas Jindal said, live the moment. Okay, that's about the boring rules. Now on to the actual contest. Are the audience ready for the contest? Yes! Great. Are the contestants ready for the contest?
Yes!
I'll take that as a yes. Sir, Chief Judge, can we move on with the contest?
Yes, you can, but before that, it is now the speaking area for the best.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, thank you. The speaking area for the contestant is this whole blue area. We provide you all kind of support and security while you're on this. Please don't jump off it. The judges may mark you down. Can we move on?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Well, now is the moment. Did I get it? Yeah. Now is the moment to declare the secret. We have the test speaker coming up on stage. And the test speaker today is Mandar Papat with the speech title, the immortal man of Greece. The immortal man of Greece, Mandrekar.
Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guest. In the old age, in the golden era, there was a man who has said that live life vertically. Then every moment has depth and height with it. Think differently, then only your life will be different. Each make your own path and walk with it. It's like the birds are flying in the sky and leaving no mark for the other bird to go on. Making your own path is more important. And unexamined life is not worth living. He was a man of courage and truth, a great Greek philosopher, Socrates. He also has said that if you are married and you get a good partner, you are happy, live your life. But if you don't get good partner, you can be a philosopher. A Socrates, he was a man of truth. He was teaching truth, but the truth he was teaching was unacceptable and considered thought-provoking in that era. It was a crime against the people and against the society. By law, it was a daily crime. And the sentence was death punishment, to be poisoned till death. And yes, the judges, they were little hesitant when they decided this man Socrates should be killed, because he was a flowering of Greek genius. So they gave him two alternatives. First, leave the Athens city, go out of country. But Socrates said, that is not possible. I will remain in the Athens. It is a question of choosing between convenience and life. And I will choose life, even if it brings death to me. I am ready to die for the truth. They said. They offered him second alternative. Remain in the Athens, but stop teaching. Stop teaching truth to people. He said, that is even more difficult for me. You are asking birds not to sing a song in the morning. You are asking trees not to blossom when there is a time to blossom. You are asking me, Socrates, not to speak the truth, which is my joy, to share with those who are groping in the dark. That is not possible to me. I am going to continue with the truth. I am going to continue with the teaching. The judges said, we are helpless. You will be poisoned till death. Perfectly okay. I am ready to die for truth. The day of death penalty has arrived. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. Sun was setting down little by little, and Socrates was asking, what's the matter? Ask them, it is getting late. And the poisoner who was making poison was really trying to make it as late as possible, because he had learned this man. He wanted him to live a little longer. That much he could make possible. So he could go on preparing poison slowly. And again Socrates' disciple came and were asking, Master is asking, why you are late? With tears in poisonous eyes, he said, he is really a brave man. I am giving him little longer time to leave, but he is not ready. Poisoner went to Socrates with poison, and he said, Sir, I am giving you a little time to leave, and it seems that you are in a hurry. And the answer Socrates gave was a beauty. He said, I am in a hurry because I have lived life tremendously. Totally, I know life, but the death is unknown. It's adventurous, and let me test the death now. Socrates took the poison, and he was ready to die. He was waiting that death to happen. He said, now the death must be in this room. It must be around me. It must be very close to me, and I want to welcome that death. Some moment passed, and he felt that his legs were getting heavier. Yes, the death is just there in my legs. I can feel the death. Again, after some time, his hands were not moving. Yes, the death is just near. I can feel the death now. Before his last breath, the disciple asked Socrates where they should bury him. With love on his face, he said, you will never be able to bury me physically. I will remain in this world forever, being known that Socrates is poisoned till death. My thoughts will be there till end of this world, and my truth will follow forever. And yes, Socrates is still there with us in books, in dramas, in various plays, and with this speech today. Over to ChandraShekar.
Thank you, Mandrekar. Now we have 5 minutes of silence for the contestants to get their thoughts in. I request the timer to please let me know when 5 minutes is over. Material to the first contestant. Should we start the contest? Thank you. I'll announce the name of the number of contestants and then the name. I'd request you to hold on to your applause till we announce the name of the contestant for the second time. So, contestant number 1, Marco Pesce. Marco Pesce, contestant number 1.
Thank you, contestant chair, and good evening, fellow Toastmaster.
Good evening.
Come here to this contest has been a long journey for me. Different contests at different levels, and 2 years flight to come here. But I'm very happy because it was a nice experience to come here to hear the speech about an interesting story. I liked the speech and was really very well delivered. The voice of the speaker was really clear. It was really easy to understand this kind of speech because it was a storytelling and we go through all the story. Also, the speech was very well structured, especially in the end. In the end, we received a clear idea of what was the speaker talking about the story, and at the end gave meaning to the title of An Immortal Greek Man. I have a couple of recommendations just only to improve a little bit the speech. There were some movement in the stage that a little bit showed the nervousness of the speaker, which maybe could a little bit control a little bit better. Also myself, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm trying to maintain my legs. The second one is the modularization of the voice was a little bit flat. There was some dialogue inside the speech where maybe we could a little bit improve it to give more results about the dialogue. This just only introduced the name of the protagonist, which was Socrates. Some of us maybe they don't really know who he is. If maybe he was giving a little introduction about the history of the philosopher, when he was born, why he was made, just only 10 seconds. It was easy for everybody to realize that. But what I liked more about this speech was it was a fantastic topic. I liked the story, it was very interesting, also we learned a lot. Great well-structured speech, very well delivered, improvement about to control a little bit the nervousness. But with this topic, I'm sure that next time I will be happy to spend another 2 hours to come to see another speech of this speaker. Test and check, I leave it to you.
Number 2. Are you all heard up? Contestant number 2, Beena Mandrekar. Beena Mandrekar, contestant number 2.
Gives you dark as well as light. Our test speaker today, by coming up on stage, gave us just that effect when he spoke about Socrates. The good side and the bad side, seen from a perspective of people and a perspective of history. He opened with the title, The Immortal Man of Greece, left us with no doubt at all, but led us on. And in our minds, we knew it was Socrates he was talking about, and all of us sat up in our seats. He built up the story well by talking of his philosophy, infusing it with humor. If you marry well, you're lucky. If you don't, you are a philosopher. And he went on to say that not many people in his time and age recognized him, but he took death, or the pronouncement of death, even philosophically. Areas of strength here, I would say, were that he came up with a dignity that well suited the topic, or well suited the subject of his speech, Socrates. He spoke with a flair and a quiet conviction. His story was logical and led to a good climax. Areas of recommendation, I would say, were that he could improve a little on his energy. It is Socrates we are talking about, none less. So he could have infused a little more of energy, a little more of joie de vivre, if he could have. Another area he could improve upon was the grammar and the enunciation. He could use a little bit of help in that area. Overall, I would say, to summarize, that his quiet dignity gave the topic a good strength. His logical end to a climax also helped us see both sides of Socrates, how the people saw him and how he lasted throughout history. It gave us a chronological perspective. And areas where he could improve were enunciation, pronunciation, and grammatical. And also a little bit of energy. In the end, I would like to leave you with one saying. Take the leap of faith, a net will automatically come up and save you. That is what Socrates' life was about. Contestant.
Abhinav, Khanna, contestant number 3.
Now Vinci once said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And today we heard a speech which was simple, sophisticated and had a message. Good evening everybody. Sir Contest Chair, honorable judges and my fellow Toastmasters. Did you notice how Mandrekar started off with his speech, the immortal man of Greece? He came upon the center of the stage, moved forward, showing that he was ready to take on the audience, exuberating great confidence. Then he began with life we should live vertically, showing great depth, adding meaning to the beginning of his speech. What I really liked after that was that he added words of poetry, starting with, "It's like birds are flying in the sky." The speech was simple. It had easy words, it was easy to understand, and pretty well structured. Now, there were things in his speech which I really liked, where he had a message at the end. It was hidden, but it was in the form of a story, a soft story of Socrates, and what happened with him in Athens, and how his death came to place when he is still alive, as we all know. With his speech, there are a couple of recommendations. In few places, he missed a few voice modulations. There could be that crime against people, or when he said, "You should have poison, you will be poisoned to death." He could have raised his volume up high, having greater impact on the audience. Then, we all know this is a big stage, from right here to right over there. And such a stage is a dream for any speaker. You could have used the depth of the stage, the length of the whole stage, coming forward when he's attacking, going backwards when the voice is going out low. But yes, then he had even further greatness coming towards the end of his speech. He lowered his voice when it was the time of Socrates' death, when the man who was making poison displayed emotion that he wanted Socrates to live more. He displayed every single emotion, and that was the time he started feeling his speech. He went into the depth of that emotion, lowering his voice with every single sentence that followed. He had a story which always connects with the audience, a story which was simple, from Athens to the 2 points and to how the death came to place, and how that death wasn't death, it was adventure, it was immortality in the end, because we still all remember. To conclude, it was a good speech. It had all the good points. It had a story, it had a beginning, a conclusion, and a message. If he could just work on his voice modulation and stage coverage, it would be great. Mr. Contest.
ChandraShekar, contestant number 4.
Mastering eloquence and inspiring leadership. This is how I am going to define this attempt of Toastmaster Vanda today. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guest and Toastmaster Vanda in particular. The first thing I liked about your speech today was the fact that you narrated a story. And for me, stories are very close to my heart. And even more, that you narrated a persuasive story. And you took care of all the ingredients of a good persuasive story. That is the ethos, that is the credibility factor because you narrated Socrates. Then you went on to talk about the emotions, that is the pathos of the speech, and then the logos, the logic, because all of us for a fact cannot dispute the existence of Socrates. Third point which I liked very much in your speech was the transitions. The fact that you narrated a story had that smooth silk transitions so that it was very clear for all your audience. Now having said these things, I would like to speak a few points on the recommendations because I feel that would have made your speech a memorable one. First, when I said that you narrated a story has a beginning, a body and a conclusion. And somehow for some fact I felt that the story and the characterization of the story was not introduced properly with a clear-cut structure for all of us in the audience. So that is my first recommendation. You can work on the structure. Second, when I say you delivered a story is powerful because of the fact that it has emotional connect with the audience. So you had to have that engagement with the audience. But unfortunately today, which I saw you doing, was you had a lot of random movement on the stage. So that was actually having a fractured connection with the audience. So adding to that, if you could use little more vivid descriptive words, that gives you the power to connect with the audience. Say for example, you gave the personality of Socrates. You could have said that power of Socrates, the personality, when you are describing the personality, you can say as true as the sun, Socrates existed in Greece. Or when you are describing his influence over the whole world, as wide as the skies. A simile, a metaphor, would have done a world of good to your speech. Third, which I would have loved to see in your speech today, was the fact that you could have used a lot of vocal variety in terms of you had a lot of characters, like you had the guy who gave the poison, you had the judges, you had everybody. So to summarize, I say that you have done tremendous justice to the ethos, pathos and the logos of your speech, the credibility factor and the logic and the logic factor of that. And secondly, I also like your transitions. But if I can recommend to you to work on your words, work with words and make it more vivid, more descriptive, more engaging for the audience, try to cut down a little bit on your random movement on stage and reach out for the entire audience to get that connect with you. And I'm sure, Mandar, you are not going to leave anybody in your audience silent with their hands at the end of the speech, and you will get a standing ovation next time. Thank you.
Number 5, Amit Kumar. Amit Kumar, contestant number 5.
As soon as I landed in Kolkata, I was sure I'm going to get a Roshogola performance. Contest chair, Toastmasters, guests, and Mandar in particular. Now I'm going to return the favor by giving a Roshogola evaluation. The most important part in the Roshogola is the white, spongy part. And in Mandar's speech, it was available in plenty. To start off, Mandar has a very, very composed way of speaking. When he comes out on the stage, he's very composed. You can feel the vibes that way. The story, the immortal man of Greece, I really liked it. The storytelling mode was there where we figured out that how a story is to be told one by one. And obviously, the message that is very, very important. At the end, that when great people do something, it's definitely going to stay all the way and they will be remembered till never. They will always be remembered. And finally, the tinge of humor, the real extra sweetness in the Roshogola. He tried to do that with that marriage joke. I really related very well with that. Like all savories, you always have room for improvement in the recipe. And in case of Mandar's speech also, we had about 4 of them. To start off with, the opening. When you give a speech, and such a lovely speech, I expected the opening to be rocking, absolutely rocking. And then the speech had areas of body language which would have really taken up. Right from the way when we are moving on to the stage, left, right, center, with a purpose. That was very, very important. And also the facial expressions, the movement of the hands would have been really enhanced. And not to forget what? The vocal variety. The vocal variety in the speech would have been there with the character that you get into. When we're talking about Socrates, or even the judges when they're saying, you could have gone into the character. And finally, important ingredient for such speeches is the energy. I would love to have more energy in the speech when the speaker was talking about Socrates. Well, what Mandar did is what a Roshogola is like. If you want to enjoy the Roshogola, you are not supposed to bite it. You are supposed to savor it in its entirety. And if you want to really have enjoyed Mandar's speech, you should have taken it in its entirety. To sum up, I would say Mandar has tried to take the Roshogola to the next level. And tomorrow, when he speaks, it will be just like the Roshogola. When you have a Roshogola in your mouth, what happens? You are rendered speechless. And tomorrow, when Mandar will speak, he will be rendered speechless. And he will become the immortal man of those masters. Wow! Kumar, very, very good. Over to you.
Contestant number 6, Niranjana Menon. Niranjana Menon, contestant number 6.
Socrates told you to think differently. Toastmaster Mandar showed you history a little differently. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Mandar. Some speeches are made for your brain and some for your heart. But Toastmaster Mandar made a speech for both. Raw, cold facts of history, so beautifully blended with emotions, and therefore weaving an entire story of an old age was what Toastmaster Mandar so successfully did. Pauses are something that all speakers use to create that mood and emotion amongst the audience. Toastmaster Mandar, at perfect junctions and apt usage of pauses, helped create that atmosphere for all 300 of us here. For example, when he went, the prisoner took a lot of time. He took a pause there, which helped actually create the seriousness and the solemn occasion that was there at that point of time. There are a few ingredients that he could have added that would have just elevated his speech. A beginning is the 2 seconds that you have to grab the entire line. A crisp beginning with the most effective saying of Socrates would have helped you make a beautiful beginning. The stage is something that a speaker would use in order to address different sections of the audience. But a consistent pacing of up and down in this fashion leads for the audience to oscillate with you, which might be mildly distracting from the wonderful speech that you are making here. But personally, there was something that stood out for me, and it was that the ability to bring out a softer, a more human side of a cold philosopher that only we all know of. That more human side, a person who actually suffered so many trials and tribulations of Socrates, is what he brought out in his speech. To summarize, the wonderful use of pauses, the blend of logic, information and emotions, and the fluidity of your speech, where you began with the golden era and seamlessly flew into his character and the trials he faced, was the highlight of your speech. With the use of a lesser pacing and a crisp beginning would have elevated your speech and made it a page in history. Contest.
Contestant number 7, Shalini. Shalini, contestant number 7.
One great line that has inspired me for some time now comes from one of the Harry Potter books that says, "To a great mind, death is nothing but the next great adventure." And Toastmaster Mandar reminded me of that line today. He delivered a message so subtle and simple and yet so convincing. He said, build your own path, follow the path of truth, and don't deviate from it at any cost. And how did he deliver this message? In the form of a story. A very effective form of public speaking that engrosses every person in the audience. I would like to congratulate Toastmaster Mandar on that. Another thing that he did in this speech was exceptional use of language. He came here and said, let us all live our lives vertically, so that every moment has a depth and a breadth. He also said, how can you tell the birds to stop singing? How can you tell the flowers to stop blooming? Such powerful lines given in the form of a story that engrosses the audience and actually helps them connect with the speech. But like every great man who has taught truth, has faced hurdles in his life, Toastmaster Mandar, if I may suggest, a few areas of improvement. First, when you spoke about Socrates, you said that the judges gave him multiple options of either to leave the land or to face death, and then how they gave him another chance to change his mind. You also said that the poisoner loved that man. I don't think that that showed me enough amount of struggle for Socrates. Had you said that the society hated him, had you said that his teachings were against the high-ups of the society, that threatened the society, and he had only two options, either to die or live a life of truth, that would have left me more convinced as a part of the audience. I would have wanted to go and get the next book of Socrates and read up on his philosophy. I would have been more convinced about his teachings. The other thing was your conclusion. You said, Socrates said, you cannot bury me of the truth, and he lives with us today in literature and in his speech. If you can add a little bit after that and say, he lives with us today in literature and the speech. So ladies and gentlemen, let us follow his teachings in everyday life and help fellow human beings. All said and done, I think that the speech had great emotional value. Like Vikas said, your style was simple and yet you connected with each and every one through your emotions. To summarize, Toastmaster Mandar, you had great use of language, a very, very simple message delivered very, very effectively. If you can just support your content to meet the objective of your main message and also make a more impactful conclusion, I think this speech will be an immortal speech of District 41. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Number 8, Sayantan Roy. Sayantan Roy, contestant number 8.
Mr. Contest Chair, Toastmasters, guests, Mandar in particular, and anybody else who has attended a history class in their lives and hated it. How can you unravel this mystery of history was the million-dollar question to me. And Mandar, the path that you took was presenting history through an amazing, garnished folding of storytelling. That was the point I got connected to you and your delivery. Thanks for making me a hater of history so much engrossed in you through the amazing power of your storytelling. I really liked the way you had conveyed the feeling that excellence cannot be killed. It just stays on and on and on. You had a lot of skills to prove today, Mandar, and some of the points to improve, I thought. where if you could have started this amazing storytelling with a bit of more energy, because you were a bit nervous towards the front, I can understand. This is a big stage, not only by its breadth and height and width, but by its stature. So this is a big stage, and it requires the guts to come up to here and speak your mind. And you had done a good job on that. Still, if you can just put on some more energy so that I could have just put my pen down and looked at you, I could have loved you more. I also thought that on the delivery front, if you can put the different characters of your story into the specific positions and create the transitions in between, I could have got glued to you. You had those characters, Socrates, you had the judges and the person who was making hemlock. So why not be the Socrates in the middle, put the judges somewhere there on the top, maybe there's near the logo, and the person right here near the steps. Then I would have visualized the people sitting there, and the dialogues that were being exchanged. Why not use this entire beautiful blue area to your benefit and create the impact that you always wanted to? The next point I would suggest to you was let the audience create an opinion and don't give the answers to them. You said what Socrates came up with was an absolute beauty. Let the audience form their opinion and come out with that. Sometimes I felt that your tone was on a monosyllable. You have different characters, so why not use different pitch of your voice? I also thought that put your emotions more so that you can connect with the audience. Overall, it was an amazing storytelling, just putting the different positions and characterizations in place, and your speech would be a greater one. Thanks for providing me the answer with that $1 million question I had. Over to the contest.
Contestant number 9, Akshita Agarwal. Akshita Agarwal.
What we saw today, what we heard today, and what we felt today was not a speech. It was a celebration of the oratory skills that the speaker possesses. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and the speaker in particular. The speaker demonstrated how magical his thought process can be. The speech was well written, well researched, well rehearsed, and well delivered. The speaker began with a backpack of quotes introducing to me the immortal man of Greece. He said, he's the guy who gave us the quote, live life vertically, think differently. And then as the speech progressed, he introduced Socrates. He talked about instances, he talked about instances, he talked about his philosophies, and he talked about his life. Very well written speech where the thoughts were beautifully woven together. The speech was also well researched because the speaker was able to quote dialogues when he quoted the disciple and he quoted Socrates. The speaker was well confident and very well rehearsed speech because I noticed that he was able to meander, his eyes meandered while he was on stage trying to maintain eye contact with many of us and twice with me. This talked about the confidence with which the speaker came on stage. The speaker's vocal variety and vocal projection is commendable. He was loud, he was clear, and brought with him a lot of charisma when he came on stage. What, in my opinion, could the speaker have done better to ensure that the speech takes off the cliff? The speaker should have considered the stage, the expanse of the stage, as his oratory playground. He could have talked about how Socrates was on crossroads when he had to choose whether he wants to stay in Athens or leave on the right of the stage. Glided and transitioned to talk about disciple and Socrates to the left of the stage. And then the introduction and the conclusion could have happened on the center of the stage. This way the movement would have been with purpose and would have ensured that the speaker is able to use the stage to the best of its capability. The speaker could have also had more vocal variety, and especially during the softer tones. When he quoted Socrates by saying, "You cannot bury me, you cannot bury my thoughts, my philosophies will prevail." And that kind of soft tones would have added the drama to the speech. And finally, the speaker needed more audience engagement. His backpack of quotes could have been battery of questions. Do you know the immortal man of Greece? Do you know who gave us the quote, "Live life vertically"? That would have made me thinking, yeah, who's the man? Who's the immortal man of Greece? Similarly, during conclusion, he could have added a third dimension by converting the informative speech to more persuasive or inspiring speech. He would have persuaded us by saying, "Socrates died for his philosophies. Why don't all of you also stand up for your philosophies and thoughts?" Or he could have inspired us by saying, "Socrates was a man who died for his philosophies. Friends, please do follow his philosophies. Let truth prevail." That would have added a lot of dimensions. All in all, a stupendous effort and a pleasure to evaluate. Mr. Contest.
Contestant number 10, Jyotirmay Bhattacharjya. Jyotirmay Bhattacharjya, contestant number 10.
Mr. Contest, fellow Toastmaster, and of course, Mother. Mark Twain had once said, "The best way of delivering a lesson is by telling a story." And Manda today, in his speech, the immortal man has reinforced just that. He told us the story in simple words about the great Socrates, the last days of Socrates. He used the narrations, the descriptions of how the last days, in his last days, he still maintained, Socrates maintained the contour of his life. He used humor, pinch of humor. He used his vocal variety in places where he described how death took over Socrates, how death came from his feet, he numbed his hands, and then went over his body. His emotions, the emotions in his voice were very clear. In the end, he gave us a very important lesson, the lesson that we can take on today. I have a few suggestions that you might consider to make this speech more memorable. I saw some regulating movements on the stage while you were moving from side to side when you were in the story. And your gesture will be closed. I suggest an open gesture, talking to the audience, not with your head down, because this is a very intense story that you can put forward with your words. Use open gestures. Talk to the audience. Second, the vocal variety. It was there. But it could have been enhanced. Like when you were narrating the story between the poisoner and Socrates, you could have used a different tone, an anxious tone of the poisoner and a calm tone of Socrates. Third, you gave a lesson in the beginning, live life vertically, and a lesson at the end, which was immortal, the way he became immortal. I suggest you tie the two things together. The best way to do it is you give the lesson in the beginning, reinforce the story, reinforce it with your story, and then end it with the lesson once again. Overall, it's a very inspiring story, very well articulated, very well put forward. I only suggest 3 things. Avoid dictative movements, have open gestures, and vocal variety. God bless you.
Please note a change of script. 2 minutes of silence, please. Okay, silence and now. Okay, the silence can finally be broken. We had a great contest, and before we can call the contestant for a small interview, let me congratulate and let's felicitate the timers today, Shabanu Day and Pooja Sabra. And the surgeon of arms, Sayyid Ariful Nisa, Sharma Rubojiti Chaudhary, and Abdul Rahim. Thank you. Well, we have heard them on the podium as contestants. We'd like to hear from them slightly different stories of their life. So I'll call upon the participants, the contestants, one by one on the stage and have a little chit chat with them. So we'll go by the order in which they've spoken. Start with contestant number 1, Marco Pesce. Before I ask Marco anything, I want to read something which he has put down as a notable accomplishment. To have changed lifestyle, this is a notable accomplishment. To have changed lifestyle and losing 60 kg in 6 months. So the secret is?
I am Italian, so time to time I go back to Italy. Last time it was April, which we had Easter holiday there. So I went there. My weight arrived at 100 kg. And it's something that when you see 3 figures, you start to change something in your mind. I came back to Gurgaon and I joined a yoga weight loss program. So I got vegetarian, I exercise 2 hours per day. I just eat 3 times per day. And easily I'm losing weight.
Tell me something about the red wine that you drink.
That one I stopped.
Contestant number 2, Beena, Mandrekar. Great, you're listening to me all this time. You suggested your interests include travel by ship. S-H-I-P, not S-H-W-P. Travel by ship. It's a ship that goes on water or on the air?
On the water.
On the water. So what's so special about traveling by ship?
Special thing about traveling by ship is, one is that my husband's a marine engineer, so I love to accompany him on the ship. Secondly, as all ladies here will vouch, The best holiday one can get is not open the door to the milkman, not decide what to cook, and not decide to throw the kachra out to the kachrawala. When I'm on the ship, the cook takes care of the food, the husband takes care of me, and it's the best holiday I can have.
Ladies, the secretary. Contestant number 3, Abhinav, Khanna. Abhinav, you have been a Toastmaster for 2 months, you said. 3 months. And you are... you are at the district level of the evaluation speech contest. Is there something else you have been doing similar to this before?
Not really. I mean, I've always loved speaking. I like talking. English movies help. And rap songs. So those are a couple of things that help your vocabulary. But yeah, that's it. Nothing much.
Okay, so were you suggesting that if I watch movies, I'll be a better evaluator?
I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Contestant number 4, ChandraShekar. ChandraShekar, you won the HNE Young Manager Award at the Bharat. They are the same?
They're 2 different awards.
So can you just tell us what they are?
Yeah, the first one was the Hyderabad Management Association Young Manager of the Year 2012 Award, which was awarded to me under the All India Management Association for my work in my area. And the second one was 2010, which was Bharat Jyoti Award from the India International Friendship Society at Delhi.
I'm sure. Yes,